So the piece is now I'd love to have you share, ask any questions. What strategies are you choosing to sustain your partnerships? Have I had you think about some things that maybe in a new ways that you haven't thought about? What are you doing to keep a good thing going? I'm looking forward to you to share your challenges and successes and any way that we can help. Yeah.
I have a question about what type of procedure they practice. Is there an exclusion list of procedures like we have in our student or sex term?
Oh, no. I wanted to know, is there an exclusion list of procedures that they can or cannot do? If this preceptor is working with them and do they practice that if they've had the theory? Because in our student nurse sex term program, there is an exclusion list that they can't do. So I just wonder, is that based on the school or how does that work?
Some of it's based on the facility. They don't let students get blood in the facility, and it doesn't do that. Others, it's our students know how to do head-to-toe physical assessment. They know how to do all the basic procedures before they start in their clinical. So they have a list of those. So the exclusion, I would say, were put on from the facility. There's just some things that we don't let the students do. And the one that comes to mind is about blood. But if you want, I could talk to somebody and get more specifics on that. But, yeah.
One comment I was going to make. One of the things that we did is, and I can't remember who asked for this, but it's real important that the facility, where the unit that is the DEU, get a syllabus or something that tells what's going on for the students during that semester. And that will sort of go at what Brenda was saying, is if you know what the students have learned and what your expectations are, it helps also with those skills. So I think that's one of the things that, and I can't remember who brought that up at some point, and we started doing that. But I think, did y'all bring it up, Brenda? And I think we're doing that better. I also wanted to make to point that we've got something really unique that Susan is here, and they are doing a DEU with the dual enrollment LPM program in South Mississippi. So if anybody has any questions about that, it's where we've got students that. I'm going to let you tell it. You can tell it better.
The dual enrollment is a 4-semester program. Our dual students start their senior year of high school. They go to the community college, or they come to the community college in the afternoons for 2 semesters, and then we do a full-time summer and a full-time fall. And then these students graduate.
Oh,
but because
they lack,
yes, ma'am.
Huh. Wow.
But because they lack life experiences, this has worked really well.
Wow, that's terrific. How creative.
So we've taken 18-year-olds and put them with the 80-year-olds.
Yeah.
So, and that has been good.
Yeah. Well,
It is.
That's really exciting. Very nice.
Our last group did really well, so we're pleased. We're excited.
Well, again, it's that community and that DEU model that can work very well for that sort of thing. Wonderful. How creative are you? Kudos. How about, do you, as partners or as individuals, do you have a sustainability plan? Are you doing a lot of these things? Did you get some new insights? I'd like some feedback on this.
Well, if somebody
Wait,
coming in.
Here comes the mic.
Okay. As somebody who kind of came in the middle of things, I didn't get in on the front end. This has been real beneficial to me. It showed me, I'm a full-time faculty member with another clinical group most of the time, and so I just, I feel kind of bad. I feel like I've done a pretty pitiful job, but now that I know what is expected, I think I can do better. But thank you.
I'm going to say, some of our CFCs, they would do like a clinical maybe a Tuesday, Wednesday, and they teach a class at the university too, you know. Yeah, so that they do. But yeah, you got to have this balance. How about any other questions? Yes.
I think that,
Oh, wait a minute.
which one?
Right if you're, yeah.
Who was talking?
It's Bobby. Bobby.
You're gonna, but it won't pick you up to the video, and we want you on the video.
For 5 North, we've been doing it for a little over a year now, and I think one, having the continued education for the clinical facilitators is a great idea, and I want to incorporate that. But also, I think having and would like to discuss further the option too of maybe moving the nurses up to maybe more, so that we would have the option of having less staff on board those days, you know. And I think it would be beneficial for the students, you know. And so I think maybe that's an option I would like to discuss with Hines, if that's a possibility there. And again, the option of maybe having longer days also. So I think both of those are really, really good ideas for the students and the staff. So
Thank you for sharing that. We think so too, because again, you got to feel like what the day is like. You know, the yin and yang of the day, how nurses really work together, and you do that by really becoming part of the union. And you don't become your guest otherwise. If you come in for a few hours and leave, and people can't count on you just to be there the whole time.
I was going to make a comment about the mic. It's only picking up through to the video, so if you think it's not loud, it's just because that's all it's going through. I know that it's not a speaker. I think, maybe y'all at university might want to comment. I'm coming back to you because you were going to make a comment. The length of the shifts and how that's been. I think we've tried that several different ways, and y'all did it. Y'all did it. Tanya did it 12 hours, and then what did y'all do?
We changed to 8.
Y'all changed to 8. Now what are y'all doing? 6. So I think that may be something that we might want to come together at some point and maybe talk about what works and what doesn't. What? Okay, I see what you're saying. That way, and y'all both talk, and then
The nurses were the ones that were requesting the longer hours.
Right. The nurses were the ones requesting the longer hours. But one of the things we have to keep in mind is the evaluation piece. If I have students on a DEU who are there for 2 12-hour shifts instead of 4 6-hour shifts, those students who have the 4 experiences have 4 days in which they may receive an unsatisfactory in a critical behavior area or a patient safety area. Therefore, those students will claim that they have had a greater opportunity to be unsuccessful than those on the DEU. So administratively, that's why the decision was made with our students having the 6-hour clinical rotations. The DEU rotations would have to be the same as the other students. So I was curious as to how you're handling that in your school.
It's not, gosh, I can't say that that's been an issue. The students work the full shifts, and the only students that work 12 hours are seniors because they're seniors. The others, that's just the way our DEUs are organized.
Theirs are DEUs, right?
Yeah, they're all DEUs. Yeah. Yeah.
We were started with 6, and then they requested to go to 8.
and you stayed at.
Right.
Yeah.
How long did they go?
Yeah.
Of all the people, it should be known. How long did they?
They're there for 2 days a week,
for 4 to 6 weeks each session.
And they did 8 hours.
So that's about
So add up to that.
135 hours, something like that. Yeah.
We have so many. We have so many students. If we could make sure that each student got the same number of hours on the DEU as every other student, that would not be an issue. But when you're trying to give clinical experiences to be equal to over 300 nursing students, we just don't have the DEU capability or capacity to be able to do that. And, you know, there's already the perception from the students who don't get to go to the DEU that they are not evaluated as strenuously as the students who are with their regular clinical instructor. So, you know, we have to keep in mind the evaluation piece, unfortunately. I mean, that's just what kind of drives this train for us.
I hear you. We have about, well, we graduated 225 a year, so we have about 550 students ourselves that, and we've grown our DEUs. That's a piece that we've done. We are so committed to that this is the best way to go, and our partners are so satisfied with the way it goes that we have we make sure that every student has DEU experience. And as we've grown now, they have, like I said, all their med-surg and DEUs. It's process having a goal towards that. And I hear your challenge. I hear your challenge, but it's certainly something that is worth in partnership to grow the number of DEUs. I was so pleased, Bobby, when you were talking about that you have DEUs with 2 schools of nursing now here. I just think that's so exciting. I've said this before. If I was the director of nursing, that would be my requirement. Just because it's a better use, it's reconfiguring roles, and it's a better use of your resources that are already scarce, your expert nurses, I think.
Two questions. What's the average length staff nurses are willing to work in the role as clinical instructor? And then also, are you seeing a trend as clinical instructors enjoy the role, they're going back and getting their masters or doctorates to be regular faculty members?
Yes. For one thing, we have our clinical partners they want to have by 2016 to have all of their nurses baccalaureate nurses. They were 50-50. And some of the highest levels of baccalaureate now are the DEUs, because some of the CIs have gone back to get their degrees. We have some that have gone back to get their masters. And then the DEUs are hiring the alums. I mean, they are hiring the students. They say, I want that person to be on the unit. So we're in second and third, I want to say generations, but obviously it's 2, 4 years out. So that's a piece. Now, I have a brain freeze about your first question.
About how long do staff nurses tend to be willing to stay in that?
Okay, we have on some of our DEUs, the staff nurses, they have students like every rotation. Other places, I can think of one at Providence, Portland, where the nurse manager doesn't allow that. She said, I don't want my nurses to burn out. So they can be in, do 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off, 6 weeks on, and we go all year round. So it depends on the nurse manager. And on that unit is where there's 75% of them have gone through the orientation. And the other, they have maybe less. But that's kind of how it is. And we have found a piece that we call it positive turnover. Our CIs that just thrive in this role, they're being taken out and being promoted throughout the hospital. So they're in charge of new programs or new units or coming to our program and becoming faculty and getting their doctorates. So they are teaching full time. So it's been, kind of wonderful synergy all around.
Because of the turnover in a long-term care facility, are you seeing more challenges with trying to keep your clinical instructors in place? Because you said you had one level that's all in long-term care now. That's our biggest issue. Is I know Carol gets to reorient and reorient and reorient and reorient. It's almost, I'm not sure that we can even do it in one semester. Sometimes she has to do it again mid-term just because of the turnover. How are you all handling issues like that, or are you having that kind of problem?
Okay, a wonderful question. We are finding that because it's a DEU, not only are those CNAs, those workers staying there, other people are requesting to come in and wanting to stay. That's why our clinical partners, the long-term care, are saying we want to have DEUs, and we moved from 1, now we're up to 5, and the agency has hired part-time one of our faculty to just to coordinate that for other schools to come in. But it has changed the culture, and some of those CNAs are working with their prerequisites and going to be nurses, and this is the best thing that's ever happened to some of them. We have the med techs, and so those are the CNAs that are giving medications, and we put students with those med techs. Well, the students have the background, the med techs have the skills and know how it works with Mrs. Jones and Sam, and and this synergy is just really exciting. So that we're seeing a growth of ownership, of excitement. The CFCs are working with those, the people in the long-term care, just like they would do with the nurses. For instance, when we did a survey of our CIs, and they're not all nurses, but they work with teams in the long-term care, they said, what do you want to know? And what they wanted to know was they want to have a theory and experience about leadership. So we're talking about, let's start with a vision. What kind of place do we want to have, and how do you help other people collectively achieve this vision? So what we're seeing is just kind of some renaissance in this long-term care. In fact, there's one place, this marquee that we have, it has 5 wings, and 2 of the wings are University of Portland, and the other were Linfield College, and the staff were saying, Linfield, we don't want to do the traditional. If you want to do a DEU, we'll have you. Otherwise, you're not here, because we see the benefit for our staff. Who doesn't want to be partnership? Who doesn't want to have everybody grow? And that, so we don't. We're seeing, just a kind of a renaissance. And when you think about the future of maybe all of us, hopefully not in a long-term care, but here we are. Let's have them be the best they possibly can, and maybe this is some way to help that happen. At least it's new thinking, right? And so.
When you have it with the long-term care facility, like we go first semester to the nursing homes, there's one nurse for 36 to 40 patients, an LPN or an RN. And when you have that ratio, one nurse on this end and one nurse on that end, the rest are nursing assistants and then, other assistants. What are the student to nurse ratios on those units, and do you have them work as a team of students, like 5, or do you still just use the 2 to 1?
Okay, that's a good question. In fact, I have an article that's being published in Geriatric Nurse. I have the galleys, the final galleys, but let me give that to you and let Debbie share that with you. But what we do is it's very prescriptive, and I have the pieces where it is. Students spend, like one student will spend, first of all, there's, let's say, 30 beds or 30 patients in this wing, and we'll put 6 students on that. One student will be with the nurse manager for like 2 weeks and learns all the delegation, does all this and the head-to-toe assessment. One or two students are with the med tech. The others are with the aides, and they're learning how to transfer patients. They're learning how to do bathing. They're doing the head-to-toe assessments themselves. They're doing those skills with the experts that have been doing. And then they switch. But you see, they're all on the same unit, so they're all still, that village is working with them. But they come out with wonderful assessment skills. The management of the meds, some are routine and all, not maybe as complex as acute care, but some really good abilities to do some assessment. And the bonus for that is that the students are looking at those meds and asking questions. Why are they taking two that are almost the same? And of course, the med tech didn't figure that out. And they can talk with the physician about that, or the physical therapist, or whomever, so that you see that value added. But that's how that works. It's not. This is the piece about having the same assumptions, but the logistics are different. It's still, and the role of our faculty is to help those, unlicensed personnel be the best teachers.
Basically taking the education part of that out of the box and let it and you flexed it to where it works for everybody.
Yeah, and you think about the joy of these wonderful aides that know how to get anybody out of bed and make anybody comfortable, and they're respected for that knowledge and sharing it with this student who adds that to the repertoire of the nurse. It's just been a wonderful, wonderful thing. If that nurse, the director of nursing for all of Marquis, was here, she's a foot off the ground. She's so excited about talking about it, and it's changing corporate culture. They want to do that all around, and then the families and the patients, they're so excited about this piece. Yeah, and it's so exciting because again, there's a plaque on the door saying this is dedicated education unit. So family comes in, what's this mean? And then they see this. And what's that? Yeah. And actually, when we first started, we have second-degree students that have a degree in something else, or EMUP, and they finish with CNLs, just like your program. And they were our first ones in the long-term care. They were the ones that started it, and we figured out how to work. And we did it for, I have to say, about 4 rotations, and they helped us problem solve what would work. It's really kind of cool. So they were, real smart people with prior degrees even.
Susan,
but then they're junior.
Can you tell them a little bit about the faculty role in the long-term care? I think that might be, because that's been a real challenge, I know. Yeah.
Well, the faculty is there. The faculty has usually a couple DEUs, so they might be even other sites. But again, their role is to teach the teachers. So you can imagine they're helping the CNA ask questions and do observations. They're helping this med tech kind of coordinate having a student, what's that mean, and expectations for the students. And then the charge nurses are just loving it because they're growing people that they hope will come into long-term care. And in fact, we have started, this Marquis has started a not a scholarship, that's not a way. If students do their capstone in long-term care, they're guaranteed a job in their organization. And so that's another, exciting thing. And, we've got smart people, and they're going to be able to do some really good things. So it's been just a win-win. It's just kind of a Renaissance type thing. I hope that answers your question. Does that give you a feel? I'll give you that article. I have it here, and you can post it on your whatever. And
we'll put it on the website, but I'll send it to enough people that
it's still in the galleys, and it's going to be a geriatric nurse probably in a couple, maybe a month or two. So.
I just wanted to ask about your evaluation process.
Evaluation.
We have an evaluation form for our students, and I don't think it's up to par. You know, like if the instructors, depending on our evaluation, you know, as part of their, you know, decision on how the student performed. And I guess I want to know, like, what kind of evaluation system you all use, and maybe we can look at it and compare and, you know, upgrade, because, you know, we want the teacher to have, you know, the full, I guess, picture of, you know, what the student experienced and how they performed and all that. So, you know, if you could share that with us.
You're hitting on the one thing that our clinical instructors talk about, evaluations. You know, if they didn't have to do that, it would be such an easier job. And of course, our evaluation form is, I don't know, 12 pages long or something, and you check this off and you give a little examples and this sort of thing. Well, this is a piece. This is what you do. We have to evaluate our students. It's required by law. They are the people that are seeing the students, and we have the students self-evaluate. We have the CIs evaluate them, and our faculty. And we do some of this in a synergy. This is a work in progress that we're doing. We're trying to simplify the form. We've done some really nice things. We have 9 program outcomes, you know, like critical thinking, theory application, spiritual care, culturally competent, you know, you can picture all these things that they have to be evaluated. But we've also said this semester we're expecting these types of behaviors. And so we have some clearer pieces, and some of those the nurses can just say, you know, that they're done. I'm talking in words, and you probably need some show and tell, and I'll share some pieces with you. But this is really a work in progress, and this gets back to feedback from our CIs. We knew it was not great. We did a survey of the students and the faculty, and we're realizing that people were having different interpretations of some things. So we're clearing that up. But it's a work in progress, but we feel like this is a critical thing. In fact, around the country, when we consult with people, and the CIs are not part of the evaluation process, that's where things start breaking down, because that's lack of trust. Because you know what expectations for caring for this patient should be, and you need to be able to help give feedback on that. So. Did that help?
Okay. So are they doing the evals like on a daily basis, or like after the 2 days?
Okay, good.
They're doing it like immediately?
Yeah.
Because that's now, I'm guilty of this and I shouldn't be, but like I've had students maybe like a couple of weeks and then get another set along the way, and you know, then I get the eval later, and I'd be like, you know, I'm trying to go back through my papers and, you know, remember. You know, 'cause I don't want to, you know, give anybody, or, you know, put the wrong thing down about,
you
know, a student. But so y'all do it like y'all doing it immediately? You know, after you had an experience with the student?
Thank you. You're asking great questions, and I'll see you get back to assumptions. Assumptions is that we evaluate students on a long-term basis, and that's not fair what they're asking you to do. So, you say no. In a partnership, you say that doesn't. We have formal evaluations. We have the students for 6 weeks. That's how long their rotation is. We have formal evaluations at halfway point and at the end of the time, and that's prescriptive. So the CI works with the faculty is in charge of that, works with the CI and the students. They do self-evaluation. You have a piece at midterm and then the final. But there's expectations that the CI will do some evaluations every day, and the faculty should help you on that. For instance, our faculty say this week, they put a little thing, the focus on this week is on GI and respiratory respiratory or blah, blah, blah. And so the CI should talk, or the CI, the faculty should talk to you and say, this week we're looking at this. Can you evaluate the students on respiratory? Can you look at the bowels? This sort of thing. And you as a CI should be helped by the faculty to set goals for your day, and then at the end of the day evaluate whether or not those goals were met. That should be part of the education that the CI, the faculty does to help you. And so that's your kind of ongoing, evaluation, that you're giving feedback to the students. So it's absolutely informal, kind of ongoing, but there's prescriptive at midterm at the end. But if you have a student for two weeks and then you don't see that student again, that's evaluation in the wind. I mean, you lost your moments of opportunity to give feedback. It's got to be person to person. Yeah.
That's why I was wondering, should it be done like at the end of like your 2 days? Should you do it? Because I may have the students, and then like if I'm off the next week, Melissa may have those same students, and then when I come back, I may have them again, or we have several preceptors, and just at the end of the rotation, I may have forgotten, everything that they did, or whatever. I'm gonna quit asking you about that, but I got to understand in there.
Yeah. Well, again, we're pretty prescriptive about keeping the same students with the same nurse. You've got this little group going, and once you kind of break that up, you're losing some of that continuity. So, yeah.
When we get the schedule from Carolyn and send me the schedule,
Then we have the schedule, and we make sure that that student will be with the same nurse during that time, and it just makes it easier for everyone. And then, maybe if they come, if they get sick or something, we have a backup.
Sure. That's a
backup
village.
facilitator to fill in during that time. But, our goal is to make sure that that student is with the same facilitator during that 4-week period. And so that, they can know each other, and she's can give Miss Carolyn the same, the feedback, and keep it consistent.
Yeah. I think that's really important.
Our facilitators know, like Wednesday and Thursday, every week, they will be at work Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Yes. That's that commitment, and that everybody supports that. The whole unit does. That's your commitment. That's lovely. That's absolutely. This is that piece that we're talking about, those agreements, those assumptions. It's not, and I think that's the difference between, we talk about preceptorships. You can have great experience with a student and one nurse for X amount of time, but the difference of the DU is that you have this whole unit, you have this whole village. Everybody is working together to have this optimal learning environment. So you can tag team, people can all help, but you have that commitment, and that they have that go-to. They have their own instructor. Yeah. I think that's the kind of the difference and the excitement about it. Other questions, comments?
Anyone else? Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Susan.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is just wonderful. Yeah, thank you. I'm just joyous.
We'll hang around for a few minutes so that anybody